I think we might be live. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, Bob's lurking and kind of too late, or
Yeah. I think we might be live. Oh, yeah, we are. We're live. Okay, there you go. So, for anyone who's sitting there waiting, we are. Hang on, I've got to turn the audio off on this other computer. For anyone who's been sitting there waiting, we are finally live, and so I don't get to do David your long, beautiful introduction. Do you want me to do? I can do the introduction anyway, but let's forget that. Everyone knows who you are. David Ligoff, everybody, here he is. So
hi, Rob. Thanks for
the
having me on the show.
yeah, look, I really apologise for that. I got a message the instant I hit go live. I got a message from YouTube saying there was a problem. They're trying to solve it, and so anyway, there we are. But it looks like it's working now. So it's not working on this monitor, but it's working on the other one. So, David, how the hell are you?
Living the dream, Rob.
And I guess all the people who are sitting there. Oh, and Bob's there. Bob Venting's there. So, g'day, Bob. How you going, mate? It's good to see you. I'm sorry we kept you waiting so long. So, David, here's the first question for you: is for people who don't know about Maltstock, why don't you fill them in just a little bit on what Maltstock is, and then we'll get into what's going to happen in Australia.
Yeah, it's very simple. Is if you think about Maltstock, take whatever you know of conventional whiskey fest, get all of that. It's not considered as a whiskey festival. It's more of a community. And if you look at how 16 years ago, Toon and Bob in the Netherlands, in Europe, it's unlike Australia. In about a 3.5 month of every weekend, 5 different whiskey festivals within a short train ride of each other.
Yeah.
Because of the size of Europe, and guys would do the circuit. They'd go to all these festivals. They'd see the same people that they meet every year, have a chat to them, catch up. But in the you haven't got that chance to relax over a whiskey, chat about what you've been doing the past year, and just enjoying yourselves. It's about enjoyment. It's about having fun, and that's how Maltstock developed. If you have a whole weekend, you're relaxed, you're all in one spot, everybody, and you've got a chance just to hang out with your mates and drink and share whiskeys.
Yeah, and
so
I've got
the heart of Maltstock.
Yeah, I've got the picture of Toon and there's Bob, and they're the two founders of Maltstock, and actually I met Toon. I met Toon and Bob, just before they launched Maltstock, and it sounded like a pretty innovative thing, and no one was really too sure if it would go. And here it is, 16 years later, and now it's all over the world. So what? I've got a couple of pictures from one of the original malt stocks, and so you could probably talk through. I mean, this is one of the nighttime sessions, sitting around. Everyone's sitting around the campfire before they get their hot sausages.
It's the kind of the finale, that the last night, which is the bonfire, the barbecue, the live music, kind of Celtic Irish music, presentations, and that's really where it all kind of builds up to a peak. And we'll we follow the same format as Maltstock in the Netherlands, with a bit of Australian and Tasmanian style, theme, and flavor to it.
Yeah, and I've got a shot here of all the bottles. So the idea is everyone brings a bottle and it gets shared around, and everyone sort of enjoys a plethora of whiskey.
Yeah, so that's really the heart of Maltstock is the gathering. It's the central area where people bring your own bottles. There's no rules, no expectations. Whatever you feel that you'd like to share with your mates and with everybody else. Then, as you can see, if every bottle's got a tag with your name on. The rules are that only the bottle owner can move it around. But if it's in the gathering area on the tables, enjoying, and every bottle has a story. Some are more interesting than others, and it's sharing those stories of why that bottle was special to you. Why did you brand it? That kind of thing happens on an informal basis at some of our events. Now it's kind of formalized as the heart of Maltstock.
Yeah. Now, how did it end up coming to Australia, and especially how did it end up in Tasmania?
Well, I think
I heard actually. I got to say, I heard a little story about this guy who turned up at Maltstock and he was sneaking around behind trees and hiding behind behind buildings, and finally they met him, and it was David Ligoff.
well, actually finding a quiet place just to have a sleep. But well, I've been doing whiskey events, whiskey festivals. Maltstock's always been on the radar, known about it, you hear about it, whispered in corridors. It's one of those bucket list whiskey events on ILO. It's kind of if you're in Europe, you got to go to Maltstock, and it's not big, a few hundred people. It's especially kept that size and it just so happened that last year, for the last couple of years, I've been presenting Australian whiskey masterclasses at Whiskey Live Tel Aviv, and next day. So it was
Oh
a
wow!
no-brainer. A few of us were going over because the M&H guys, they were sponsors of Maltstock. And the session at Whiskey Live finished at 11 p.m. and there were, I think, three of us on a to Amsterdam the next morning. So that was it. And
You're a glutton for punishment.
yes, sleep is overrated in this business. And so I go to these kind of things, get ideas for my events, and that's all I was there for, and just to hang out and see how they were actually doing things in real time. And walking around, it suddenly struck me that this would be fantastic to have in not in Tasmania. And you say, why Tasmania? Yeah. Is that for the last maybe 4 or 5 years, I've been hosting around Tasmania, visiting all of the distilleries, and we base the tour. We stay on site in the Tasmanian Highland, a place called Ratho Farm, next to a town called Bothwell, which is unashamedly Scottish. It's next to the Clyde River, and it's of one of the, call it the barn. They host weddings there, and you can say, but at Ratho Farm they've converted old stables and convict quarters into luxury cabins, and it's got the space, all accessible to a whole lot of distilleries, and we base ourselves there. And I thought, well, this would work fantastically around Ratho Farm and Bothwell. So I chatted to some guys and I said, well, on the second day of Maltstock, I said, well, okay, who do I speak to? And they said, Toon and Bob, or Toon or Bob. Track them down. Obviously, they were very busy, so it took me a while, a few hours to track them down, and no idea. And I think it took them a bit off guard. In the
Well, it shouldn't have taken you too long, because because Tuna and Bob both tell me that it's so relaxed that everyone's always relaxing. Actually, speaking about relaxing, I wanted to put this up because you're obviously getting into the mood of Maltstock, which that'll make Tuna and Bob happy.
Facilities at the venue.
Hey, and the accommodations are spectacular. Is this what everyone can look forward to staying in?
Every room is unique. So on site, we can host people sharing or singles, 40 odd, 45 people. Then across the river in Bothwell, and we've taken up, I think, 8 different Airbnbs that can sleep anything from 2 to each, plus a 20-minute drive up the road is Rathmore, where we can host another 20. So we're really limited by the local economy. Look at location-wise, we're about an hour north of Hobart in the Highlands, and it's fine because bigger isn't always better. We like to keep our events small, intimate, and it really kind of suits the ethos of what Maltstock is about.
Yeah.
So 120 of our staff that'll be there helping and managing everything. That's about capacity.
And I just stuck that map up that shows where you are. You're sort of up there in the mountains.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. It's away from it all, and yeah, it's can't help but saying it is. You can't help but feeling relaxed. It's what is supposed to be the oldest golf course in Australia, curated by Greg Ramsey. His family have on that site for probably 100 years. Bothwell was started by Scottish immigrants in 1823. So it's on the Clyde River. As you can see, all the street signs are on the backing of different colors of tartan.
And that's about as Scottish as you can get.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's sort of it was a bit hard to see the tartan on there, but I see it.
And each one's different.
The local area looks spectacular.
And we've set up Maltstock in exactly the same way as they do in the Netherlands. It's not for profit. It's community based. Our little working committee of local guys that I've been really worked with over the last few years with our whiskey tours, our team on the ground. We've got fantastic support from the local whiskey community. We've got the Captain Bly's Brewer. We've got the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, who have been a sponsor of Maltstock in the Netherlands for about 10 years. They'll be over there as well. And it's really just fantastic to see that the whole community come behind us and help us get this off the ground.
So you've got room for 100 people. How is it going with people signing up at the moment?
Yeah, it's ticking over quite nicely. A lot of people, it's on their radar. They're just looking at getting a. What they have to do is get to Hobart. We'll pick them up from either Hobart Airport or from the CBD. We'll just, once they're booked, we'll get there a whole lot of little shuttle vehicles up and down. We're probably almost half full. So we've probably got 50, just over. All we're asking for at the moment is a $180 deposit just to book your spot, and then we'll.
Yeah, and of course the two co-founders will be there, Toon and Bob.
That's the first thing they said is, we're coming as well, don't worry. We've got quite a few overseas guests. We've got Ardnamurchan Distillery in Scotland will be here. We've got representatives from New Zealand. It's yeah, it's we try and but it's a week after the big whiskey show in Sydney. So if people are coming from overseas, they can go to the bit of tour of the country, visit some other distilleries, and then come down to Maltstock and Tassie.
Oh, that was pretty clever scheduling there on your part, David.
Well, since I have an involvement in both, it was quite easy.
Now I've got when when people come there, they're going to be able to go on tours to some of the distilleries. And yesterday we were talking about this distillery. Which one was it again?
This is Clyde. We've got
Yeah, and what were you telling me? You were telling me that this is a special type of still.
yes. Clyde Mill is on the old Nant estate, and people who are familiar with Australian whiskey history will be familiar with the sad story of how the Nant whiskey distillery and the Nant brand went from being a fantastic whiskey to absolutely nothing because of uh, some shenanigans to do with um, casks were either didn't exist, were never filled, or filled with watered down spirit. That's in Tasmanian history, Australian whiskey history. But the distillery, the stills, the infrastructure was all there. It's been revitalized. Family, John Ramsey's taken that over. They've done a fantastic job of completely redoing the whole place. It's geared up for tourists. The old water wheel it's on the Clyde River. Obviously, it's Clyde Mill. The mill still works, and Peter is helping get that up and going. And they're starting production again. But it's literally either a drive or a pleasant walk through the sheep paddocks across from Ratho Farm to Clyde Mill, taking tours there throughout the day on the Saturday, plus visiting other distilleries, Belgrove, Old Rennie, and as well as Callington Mill just further up the road.
All right.
And visits are about the only thing that people have to pre-book for. Everything else is completely relaxed, and a lot of parallel sessions that go on. It's a very full program. You can choose to do whatever you like, or just sit under a tree reading a book and sipping a whiskey.
Oh, that's good. So, but when they go for that walk through the paddocks, you got to be careful of these guys, right?
Yes, the only time they get aggressive is if they notice that you haven't got food for them.
Oh, yeah, and I've even got a picture of that. So,
Being in the Highlands and being a typically Scottish area, it wouldn't be the same without a hairy coo.
yeah, that's true. And this is in the same distillery as before, correct?
Yes, yeah. Then you can see the equipment from the mill just in.
Yeah. So it's sort of like back to first principles almost. Do they actually do floor malting there?
No, they don't.
Oh, so all the malts are bought in, malted somewhere else.
Yep. Yep.
Gotcha. Now, and just as Bob's got a question for you. Bob said he's very curious about whiskey brands coming in. Which distilleries and brands are you expecting?
Yeah, good question. It's always evolving. Said we've got the way we've uh, uh, because there's so many choices in Australia for this year, kept just with Tasmanian whiskies. So we've got a whole host. I mentioned all those ones that we visited, plus Killara, Overeem, Derwent, and there's international New Zealand whiskey collection. We've got Ardnamurchan, we've got Thompson, we've got the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. When we have what we call our drinks with sessions, which are quick fire, 20-minute, almost fireside chats, we've got rooms running, and we've got 20 of those going. So 20 different brands will be presenting their whiskies at the drinks with session. We've got other ones. We've got a Hunter Island, Sullivan's Cove, which probably one of the more well-known distilleries, having won best single malt in the world in 2014, which really kind of turbocharged the Tasmanian and Australian whiskey offered with his whiskies in 1992. And when I did the whiskey show in 2012 in Sydney, dozen Australian whiskies with whiskey in the market, and now there's probably about 200.
Yeah, I know. I keep saying this on every live stream that I do, but when I launched Single Malt TV, the Australian industry was sort of just dipping its toe in the international scene, and there were it was sort of a bit of a novelty back then, and then all of a sudden it seems like like around 2010, 2012, it just exploded. And Andrew was saying the other day there's something like 140 whiskey distilleries in Australia now.
Yeah, then guys coming online. It changes every day. But
Yeah.
to a quick answer is if you go to the Maltstock Down Under Facebook page, you'll see the banner which we changed just a couple of days ago. That lists the banner photo lists all the brands that we have confirmed so far. Because I'm sure there are some just there as well as they come to mind, but that's there on the banner of the Facebook page.
Bob replied. He said, "Very relaxed. Really looking forward to the event and learning more about Australian and Tasmanian whiskey." Bob, hey, Bob, you might never want to. You might never want to go home.
Well, events like Maltstock are like the 1960s. If you remember them, you weren't really there.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
And it's
now
it's the kind of I mentioned the drinks when the distillery visits. It's what we do. It's all about entertainment and storytelling.
Yeah.
When you come out of you've seen it all. You're drinking the whiskies and you don't remember that a particular whiskey had notes of pencil shavings and wet possum. But the backstory about the Stillman with three fingers, who's his sixth generation, and his great grandparents started the distillery in the 18 whatevers. You remember that kind of stuff, and that's what it's all about. That's what the whiskey industry. It's you see of people at whiskey tastings. It looks like they're at a bloody wake. Gotta lighten up, guys. It's about fun. It's about enjoyment. That's what we're there for.
I know. I'm sure that's why Maltstock took off like it did, and when I've sort of got a particular soft spot for the guys from Fortune and Bob, because when I launched Single Malt TV in 2005, they sent me a video with them and a couple of other guys from the whiskey club in Nijmegen, and they were super supportive, and they were the first ones to support us after we went live, and it was a bit of a slog back then in 2005, but they were awesome. They always were really supportive, and So when they looked like doing Maltstock, and it looked like it was going to be a fantastic idea, and I'm sort of really happy for them that it's taken off, and now that it's spreading to Australia, I think is awesome. And from everything I've heard from all the people I've talked to who have been there, they just absolutely rave about it. I've never been. I've got to get to one of these days, but everyone I speak to just absolutely raves about it and say what a fantastic time. And a lot of them want more days. It'd be good if they could make it 4 days, 5 days, but you might never work again after that.
Yeah, so the brain wants more days than the liver says.
Yeah. Hey, now listen. A mate of mine in Australia, and I gave him I sent him a text yesterday and asked him to put together a little video, and I sort of helped him out. So I'm going to play it now. I was going to wait until the end, but I'll play it now because I think it's kind of funny. And it's for anyone who's going to Maltstock. This is what you should take with you. Okay, here we go.
G'day, it's Aussie Jono here by beautiful Tasmanian trout stream. Now, if you're coming down under to Tasmania to go to Maltstock down under, you've got to bring some stuff with you. You've got to bring in a Kubra. This is my summer edition. You've got to bring some blunnies to go on your feet to keep your feet nice and dry. You've got to bring a dry bone because occasionally it rains a bit here in Tassie, keep you nice and dry. You've got to bring a boomerang to fend off the wild Tasmanian devil and the other wild animals. And you've got to bring a didgeridoo to entertain yourself at night. So don't forget, when you come down here to Maltstock down under, bring your Aussie gear. This is Jono saying, see you later.
So what do you think? Was that just what people needed to let them know what to bring?
Well, they're pretty much all essentials. The didgeridoo is optional. But everything else I can't fault. The only animals that you have to be out on the lookout for in that area are the drop bears. And if you haven't bears, if you Google it, there's a page on the Australian Museum website that explains all about the drop bears.
Well, if you bring a boomerang, you'll be right. You can just beat the drop bear over the head with a boomerang.
They've evolved. They've learned to
know how to dodge
cope with nothing. They just bounce off.
That's funny. Oh, and I forgot to put up this other map because this is just for people who don't know where Tasmania is. And just in case they didn't know where Tasmania is, it's that little place way down the bottom. And there probably are a few people who aren't too sure. But yeah, there it is. Sort of, hop, step, and a jump from Antarctica.
Well, if you look at the history of Australia and the early explorers, Abel Tasman, he found New Zealand and missed the mainland of Australia completely. How he managed that, nobody knows. And the growth started in Sydney, in Botany Bay, then Tasmania, then Melbourne. Melbourne was established after by the sons of Tasmanian merchants who sent them over to the mainland to set up a base there.
Oh, is that right? There's another message on screen from Bob. Can you see it?
No. Well, it depends how much whiskey you drink, whether you spot a haggis or not. If you go for it, and good luck with customs. In the Clyde River, just below where the Ratho accommodation cabins are, is a platypus. Bonus drams for anybody who can spot the platypus with photograph.
And there's another message for you. From actually, I think is this Gary who's working for you at the on Maltstock? I think
Yes,
I think he was one of the
he's our official photographer. Yeah. He's based in
right,
Launceston. Yeah, he's at a lot of when we were chatting earlier, and Rob was having a look at all the photos on social media, and he said to me, "Do you only have one?" I now have two.
I know. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But
Yeah, so
we followed the format of Maltstock. We've got all of the sessions. We've got a premium rare bar as well. We'll have whiskey chocolates available, a raffle for just random fun prizes, and also the midnight feast, which is pretty much an adult pajama. You can picture that on the Friday night. We've got a team's whiskey blind tasting competition of Tasmanian whiskies, and that's on the Friday evening as well. We've got obviously, if you're a golfer, play golf. You'll have time Sunday morning if you can still focus. We've got whiskey walks in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday mornings. We grab a dram and go for a wander, about an hour walk through the town. It's pretty flat. You don't need to have any level of get to learn a bit more about the town and its 200-year history.
Oh, and Gary said, and hopefully some cheese too.
Absolutely. We're working on that at the moment, Gary. Don't worry.
I think that made him happy.
Yes, at a lot of my events, I've been doing whiskey and cheese tastings for about 15 years. Yeah, it's my other weakness besides whiskey is cheese, and Tasmanian cheeses are fantastic.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a general question, because you're a good guy to talk to about this, because you've got a lot of experience in Australia and globally with festivals. Excuse me, and now running Maltstock, which is really a very different type of festival to the normal whiskey shows that people go to. Do you find that that people are moving, and I guess you won't know until you run Maltstock in Australia, but are people moving away from those old traditional sort of whiskey shows? Are they losing popularity at the moment, or are they still sort of pretty popular?
Look, they are popular. Look, I can really only talk the ease of which one can both. There's two parts to it, and I think Andrew alluded to that early in the week. There's tickets to get guests there, plus getting the brands to exhibit, and
Yeah.
So the one that I started 2012. I've done 50 of them now. Handed that over to for us, and we do a dozen or so festivals around the country in a year. Festival, which is in August, is already sold out. Melbourne in July, pretty much also almost sold out. You need to give people a reason to return. Now, your regulars come, they look at the lineup. I was there last year. Why should I come this year? And if you keep the format fresh, if you keep it interesting, you make it appealing for different brands. You have international brands, independent bottlers, Australian whiskies, international Japanese whiskies, world whiskies. You'll get the people to come, and it's adding innovations. It's being creative, and as I said before, it's about entertainment. Is that, and not my quote. I unashamedly stole it from a guy that I bumped into at a international festival. That people will forget what they tasted. They'll forget what you told them, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And that's our mission as whiskey event organizers, whether it's Maltstock whiskey festivals, tastings, whiskey tours, is that we appeal, is that we're creating almost evangelists. That they call them influencers now, but it's really that why do people bond to? They might have visited the distillery, spoken to the guy who makes it, the distillery manager, the head distiller, the visitor center, and they get an attachment to that brand, and that's what we try and create at all of our festivals, all of our whiskey events. Is that you enjoyment. If you're just trotting out the same old format year after year, of course you're going to see a fall off in participation, and attendance. But if you keep the format fresh, interesting, then you'll keep going. But you have to keep reinventing yourself, looking at market trends, a mix of the new guys on the block, all the new distilleries that need to be at these festivals, because it's a very easy and quick way to get the big guys, the multinationals, the Diageos, the Pernod Ricards, the William Grant and Sons. They don't need to go to whiskey festival. They just need to keep them top of mind at duty free and in the retail stores. But it's the new guys that if you buy, you don't want to go and taste a whiskey that you can see at any bar and any bottle shop in the country. Why would you do that?
Well, extending on from that, if let's say you're running a whiskey show and you're constantly changing up the format so that you keep it interesting for people, are you still appealing to, you said before about preaching to the choir. Are you still preaching to the choir, or are you able to drag new people in? Because I've been reading a lot of reports from all areas of the drinks industry worldwide that young people are falling out of the market. And are you finding that? And with the festivals, are you finding that new people are moving in?
We are, and as a general trend, and we follow the trends, we track them very closely and look at probably about 50% of attendees at a show are the regulars, and a lot of them somebody that may have introduced whiskey to, and say, well, okay, you like whiskey, come along, I'm putting a group together. We have people who will buy 12 tickets in a batch because they bring a bunch of their mates, and that's really what you want is that you get your loyal guys. They've come year after year, the value in it, and they bring mates across. It's the slower introduction of younger drinkers, but they are there, new experiences, and if you can give them that experience through whiskey, they'll be there. What we have seen is that and Australia's lagging the European model, where you have your regulars who are looking for something a bit more unique and premium, and that's where we have say like the Limburg Festival, where it's the what we call the pay to play. Traditional whiskey festivals, the whiskey show, you pay a set fee, and then you can sample 5 ml samples of 100, 150 different whiskies over a 3 to 5 hour period. With the premium pay to play, you get tokens, and you get an opportunity to try old, rare. Some we have 3 of those in the year. You've got 400 different whiskies. Some of them, if you try to buy the bottle, we had one which was I think a 10,000 bottle. It was a 40-year-old Port Ellen bottled by Duncan Taylor. But you get a chance to try 10 mils of it for I think it was a couple $100, and you would never get that. So that format, I think, is going to become more popular as you get that kind of segmentation between your 2 shows for a decade or more and the newcomers. You need that mix of both. But they all both have a place in the market.
Now, how is part of the issue, I think, with the younger younger people coming into the whiskey market is cost, and with costs skyrocketing in everything worldwide, that's sort of becoming a bit of a barrier to entry. And are you finding that is a barrier at all, or not?
It is. It's very much for New World whiskies like the Australian market and other smaller producers. That when times are tough, and we can't hide the fact that inflation's high, world economy, people have got less disposable income, they settle to their comfort zone, whether it's whiskey, beer, wine, gin, and in 12-year-old Scotch. If they've got 80 or $100 to spend, they'll go to their safe zone.
Yeah.
And it's the challenge history to play in that ballpark. And a lot of the distilleries they've worked really hard, and they are doing it. It was really hard to find an Australian whiskey under $100. Now there's at least a dozen that have got whiskies in the market. It doesn't help that we've got one of the highest excise duties in the world, which we have to contend with, and goes up twice a year with CPI.
Yeah.
That really helps the taxman and not the consumer. But there's a really good choice of fantastic Australian with $100 mark, which is fantastic to see.
Well, given that there are so many, like we're saying, over 140, essentially boutique distilleries in Australia, and a lot of them pumping out very small quantities, their market seems to be very limited, because really they can only market in Australia. They can't really market overseas because they just don't have the quantities. Is that a real stumbling block for the industry, or is size and scale sort of an advantage in a way?
Well, it's a matter of business deciding what business you're in, and it's no different to a boutique winery, for example, which is sell online and a cellar door. They're a tourist destination. Boutique whiskey distilleries are no different. That there's guys that they don't want. With scale comes higher costs. It's costs of casks, costs of storage, getting that distribution model. As it's once you decide what business you're in, you can make it really lucrative and successful. It isn't always better with any business, and if you want to just play in the local markets, which are successful, cellar door tours, you're online, you have your key membership base, keep that going, keep it fresh, keep giving them new products every now and again. That's a model that works, and you don't have to strive to play with the big boys.
Yeah.
That's often a recipe for disaster. It's finding that niche in the market that works with your model and your brand. That obviously does work. And
so as long as the return on investment is satisfactory, then there's really no. What you're saying is there's really no need to expand.
No, and we've seen. You see, how often do you see a craft brewery really successful by one of the big guys, bought out by them because they want to expand, increase capacity, and all of a sudden sales drop off? Why? Oh, because they're no longer craft. Your consumers tell you, well, the whiskey I'm buying today is not the same as the whiskey that I enjoyed when it was still made by a garage. Now I've moved on.
But Bob just said a thing. He said, "This will be the first time for me visiting Maltstock. I just realised I have no experience choosing a bottle for Maltstock." But he's got a question too. He said, "I see Millstone whiskey behind David. Wondering what bottle to bring. Any suggestions?" Where's the
So
mill?
I've really got a trick at Millstone. Uh, we had them at a lot of our festivals. During COVID, we did quite a few great products, brilliant. And if you can get hold of some bottles of elusive stones, wouldn't turn that down. That's a
Which one is the millstone behind you? Which is the millstone?
there's a PX, Oloroso Sherry, and the 100 Rye. I don't need to look behind me to
Oh,
tell.
right. Oh, they're the ones up on the shelf just over your head
Yep,
with
yep.
the grey. Yeah.
Yep,
Can you
those
pull
ones,
one?
yes.
Can you pull
Yeah,
one?
the Peter PX is.
Can you pull one down? Give us a
Uh,
close-up look at it. Can you get to it, or is it too
yep.
hard? Oh, Bob, I'm going to get into trouble now, Bob, making him get up out of his seat, out of his throne there. Oh, look. Hey, when you say peated, what are they? Where are they peating the malt, and what are they using to peat? Are they actually using peat?
They would, and Bob would know better, but I don't know if Millstone uses Scottish peat, where they're getting their peat from. I've got no idea.
So it's peated here. It's not peated at the maltings.
Well, it would be getting a peated character into a whiskey. The one is drying the barley, the malted barley over peat fires, is
Yeah,
putting whiskey into a cask that previously held peated whiskey. So you get more of a subtle influence of the peat.
yeah.
Those are the only two ways of getting a peated character.
No, but I mean, the Australian, if they're buying their malts already, then they must already be peated when they
Yes,
stop
yes.
the.
And some guys like the Lark Distillery have their own access to their own Tasmanian peat and what they call the belly button of Tasmania. There's a peat bog. The guys use they import peat either from Scotland, from New Zealand,
Oh,
from all over. So you don't need to. If you are doing your own maltings, you are able to get peat into the country, or you're buying already peated barley internationally.
yeah. All right. Bob's got another. Actually, no, that was Gary. Gary was glad when you stood up that you at least had your pants on.
Look, it was touch and go. I flipped the coin.
Yeah, he thought that might have been why you were hesitating to stand up. Oh boy. Oh yeah, Bob said Millstone uses Scottish peated malt. And Gary said Furneaux Distillery have peat on Flinders Island.
Yes, some involvement of Furneaux at Maltstock. So yeah, great guys. Pretty. The flights from Launceston are pretty pricey if you haven't got a boat to get over. I still have to get to go over to Tom at Furneaux.
I'm just having a look through my questions because I was given I got some questions sent in to me ahead of time. When because the introduction to this was a bit messed up. What I'm going to do when we finish is I'm not going to put it online straight away. I'll leave it offline, and I'll record the introduction and edit that onto it, and then I'll put the whole thing online, so that it's a complete thing rather than starting going, oh look, it looks like we're online now. Because that didn't look too slick, I've got to say.
Well, it's all part of just our relaxed approach to doing things.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what Bob said. He said it's very relaxed. Oh, there's Martin. Hey, g'day, Jono. We played the video, mate. Everyone loved it. That's Martin. Jono is the guy who was on camera there, uh, who shot the video for me. And then I added the little bits of boomerang. You could probably tell. Oh, here's a question from someone. And this sort of is a little bit of an extension of what we talked to with Andrew the other day. Um, and it gets back to being small, boutique style and craft style of distilling. But does that give the Australian industry a lot more freedom to experiment and play around with all sorts of stuff that the big guys can't really afford to do?
That's the advantage of world whiskies in general, is that you aren't constrained by the conservatives of, say, Scotland and Ireland, and in some cases even America. The definitions of, to call it whiskey in Australia, produced from a grain, matured for at least 2 years, whereas in Scotland, the Scotch Whisky Association rules is anything that's under 3 years in Australia, you can't really export because it doesn't comply with the SWA regulation. It must be matured in oak. Sorry, matured in wood. Doesn't specify oak, whereas the SWA regs say 3 years in oak. So Australia just says wood. So you got the opportunity to use, as they do, with red gum, iron bark. You can take fence palings and make them into, and add that innovation and creativity within obviously the framework of the broader regulations of what constitutes whiskey.
Yeah. And what does that? Are there a lot of Australian whiskies that fit into that experimental category? Do you think?
Yes, and they're all trying to be innovative and creative. And as Andrew said.
Oh no! What happened? Just a minute. I'm just going to turn you off and turn you back on. Hey David, you've just frozen. Just turn your camera on and off real quick, mate, and that should free it up. Yeah, that was a good. David just suddenly got frozen. Here he comes. Is he coming back? I hope he's coming back. Hey Jono, the video went really well, mate. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it? Just put a note there, but I added some little bits in there and did a bit of editing, and it was pretty good. And Bob loved it. So, oh gee, we've lost David completely. Let's hope he can come back. Um, one of the things while we're waiting for David to come back on, the one thing I will say is that when Maltstock Down Under is on, we're going to try to have a crew, and Gary, this might actually be you, but we're going to try to get someone to shoot some video each day down there and put it up, and we'll run it, stream it live on, or not live, but we'll stream it sort of a package on Single Malt TV, so people can see what's going on day by day at the festival, and so the people who can't make it don't feel totally left out. Gee, it looks like David might have vanished into thin air. I don't know where he's gone. Actually, just everyone stand by for a second. I'm just going to refresh my page in case he can't get onto mine. No, it looks like David has vanished. Let me see if I can pull him up here. Well, we've been going for nearly an hour anyway, so maybe that's our signal to wrap it up. It's probably no, YouTube is still running, so you guys can still see us on there, but you can't see David anymore. So what I might do is see if he can't get onto the link. Okay. Just hold on. Just excuse me for a sec, guys, while I communicate with David here. Well, Bob, you can tell, Toon, that this was the most relaxed live stream or webcast you've ever seen, because it's certainly relaxed. I think I need a whiskey after this. Okay, yeah, David can't get back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up, and then I'll take. Hang on, just a second. I'm still talking to him. Oh, here we are. He's back. David's back. What do you know?
Somebody blocked me.
I told everyone we were going to wrap it up. They said, "Oh, thank God, we've got to get rid of that bloody David guy."
About bloody time.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Bob said from his point of view, this was very relaxed. Because I said, this is about the most relaxed live stream you will have ever seen. It's pretty funny. Let me see if I've got any more questions for you, because I did get quite a few questions sent in, but you've sort of answered them. Yeah, we've done all that. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we? Why don't you just say one more time what you think? What you think the great benefit of someone coming to Maltstock is? You know, if they because it's not going to be an easy trip down to Tasmania, and especially for people from overseas. But what's the big benefit for them? When they go away, what are they going to take away with them that says, you know what, that was awesome, I want to go back again?
The two main elements of Maltstock is the communal aspect, the gathering, the sharing of your own whiskies with like-minded whiskey lovers, and also hanging out with 30 whiskey makers from around the world that for 3 days. You go to a whiskey festival, you have to interact with them over a table when they're pouring you their whiskey. That's about it. Here you've got 3 days. You eat eating together, you're hanging out together, you just immerse yourself in an environment of whiskey people. And with our profit volunteer-based structure, the same as we have in the Netherlands, all we're doing is we're covering costs. Once everything's taken care of, we pick you up from Hobart, we bring you there, we take you back at the end. All your meals are included, accommodations included, tastings, the distillery visits. So you just got to get there, and we look after you for the rest of the time.
Now, there's one thing that I would suggest, and I think you should take your shirt collection and sell it at Maltstock.
We've got interesting things planned for the shirts.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
Oh, well, I want one. I want a Maltstock. I want a Maltstock Down Under shirt. I've got to get a Maltstock Down Under shirt.
Well, the only way to get that is to attend Maltstock Down Under.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, I'm going to go through my list one more time because we've actually been going for an hour. And I'll edit that little bit where you disappeared. I think really what happened is you just needed a bathroom break. That was.
Well, I was going to say that I'm really, really, really impressed. Hour without having to go to the bathroom. That's a milestone.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good thing. Okay.
Now, one thing nobody has asked is, what whiskey am I drinking?
Oh yeah, what? You want to know something? One of the questions on here is, if David's drinking a whiskey, please ask him what he's drinking. How's that? What are you drinking?
It's called Diggers and Ditch, or Diggers and Dutch, actually.
Just angle
it's
it a little.
A collaboration of New Zealand whiskey and Tasmanian whiskey, produced by the New Zealand Whiskey Collection.
Oh, right.
It's a Tasman whiskey. I've lived in both countries. Still support all New Zealand's. We've got the T20 cricket finals against India. Probably early. So that's what I'm drinking, is a Tasmanian New Zealand whiskey.
There's on the bottom of the screen, there's a message from Bob.
Well, to Bob and Tune, thanks for believing in me, baby, with me, and we'll do our best to fulfill the Maltstock, show you a good time down under.
And I'm sure he's either going to comment or he's gone to bed. Okay, well, on that note, we might sign off, eh? And I mean, even though this was
and look forward to the next one.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And yeah, I apologize for that mess at the beginning there, but yeah, everything was working, and it was just some sort of glitch at YouTube. But anyway, it's all still working perfectly now. I've got a big monitor over the back here with it streaming through, and it's going fine. And you know what? The other good thing was, we were in perfect sync for the whole thing.
That's a first for me, yes.
So that was a really good thing. So anyway, thanks, David. This has been awesome, and thanks for putting up with all the bumping around. But I think these things have got to have a little bit of a little bit of give and take, a little bit of flex in them, because I don't think any of them ever go 100% smoothly. But just before you do go, once I sign you off, just keep your browser open while it's uploading the final stuff to the server. And once I sign off, I'll come back on. We can have a chat.
Great. And
Okay,
thanks for everybody for joining us.
Yes, thanks to everyone for jumping in. Okay, David, I'm going to sign you off, and thanks, mate. I'll talk to you in a jiffy.
Cheers.
Okay, so there you go. That was a hell of a live stream. I hope not too many of them go like that. But I'm going to sign off, and this won't be available straight away on YouTube as to replay, because I'll do a bit of editing. I'll cut it all together, and I'll do the intro to David, because I didn't get a chance to do that, which was a bit of a drag. But I can easily record that, and then I'll cut it all together, and I'll do that either overnight or tomorrow morning. And so this should be up in its completed form without all the little jumps and things in it by tomorrow afternoon. So there you go. So and I'll just tell you what the next one is on Saturday, March the 14th, and I'm going to be talking to. We're going to be doing it live on Saturday night from Ireland. So it should be something of a hoot, because the guy I'm going to be talking to, his name is Wayne Byrne. He's an author, and he writes a lot of film books. And I met him because he interviewed me for a book that he was doing on all the Halloween series of films. I shot Halloween 5, so he was interviewing me about shooting that film. But he's written books on Burt Reynolds and Walter Hill and some of the big directors and other cinematographers. And he's quite a prolific writer. But he's got three friends. Brian, who is an avid whiskey collector and has an awesome collection, is going to bring some of his rare whiskies along. And then two friends, both named Ronan, so Ronan squared. And so we're going to do a live webcast at 2 o'clock East Coast US time, 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. European time, and that'll be on Saturday, the 14th of March. So it'll be real early Sunday morning in Australia. But that should be a lot of fun. And the one rule with it is everyone has to have a whiskey in hand, because it's Saturday night. So there it is. So that's the next one coming up, Saturday, the 14th of March. So like I said, this will be online probably tomorrow morning or at the latest by tomorrow afternoon as a full replay. Thanks to everyone who was on there. Thanks to guys for all the questions that you sent in. And I hope I answered most of them. And to all the people who sent questions ahead of time, there were a ton of them, and I think we answered them all just in the course of the conversation. So there you go. So I'm going to shut up at this point and go and pour myself a whiskey because I think it's well earned. And so there you go. Thanks very much for tuning in to Single Malt TV, and we'll see you on the next one.